and bar. Great food, kick-ass cocktails and rockin' music. I'm Darren Cleary.
98 FM weather with VideoDoc. Feeling under the weather? Download the VideoDoc app. Videodoc.ie.
Breezy today, mostly cloudy, but there will be some bright sunny spells. Top temperatures of 18 degrees. Right now it's 14. 98 FM's Big Breakfast with Cooper and Luke. Back tomorrow morning from 6, only on 98 FM.
The following show is controversial and contains content you may find offensive. Listener discretion is advised. 98 FM's Dublin Talks. Dublin Talks with Adrian Kennedy.
Good morning. How are you today? It is Tuesday morning, the 9th day of October 2018. And how are you this morning? I'm Adrian Kennedy. And between now and midday today, this is 98 FM's Dublin Talks, the mid-morning talk and phone-in show for Dublin, by Dublin, about Dublin. It is everything and anything to do with this city. Coming up on this morning's programme, amongst other things, reports coming in that a school in Balbriggan was forced to close. We're going to find out why in a couple of minutes. Also, the dangers of steroid abuse. We hear of a new campaign to highlight the dangers. On a lighter note, we'll be finding out from women what things they find most attractive in men. Before 11, should child benefit be given to children living in direct provision? Now, I didn't realise, until we looked into this today, that if a child is born here in Ireland but happens to live in direct provision while their family's case for asylum is being dealt with, that child doesn't get children's allowance. A child born in the bed beside him in the rotunda, for example, does. But the child, I was shocked by that. Anyway, we'll talk about that a little bit later on. Would you dump somebody over a drunken kiss? You've heard the whole story about Strictly Come Dancing and the couple and the kiss, the drunken kiss and all that. We'll be talking about that later on. Would you dump somebody over a drunken kiss? Or can it be forgiven? Like I said, it's a busy show. Between now and midday today, this is 98 FM's Dublin Talks. I'm Adrian Kennedy. Now, this story you may have just heard on our bulletin a couple of moments ago. A Balbriggan school has been forced to close after a gun threat was made by a student. This is Ardgillan Community College in Balbriggan. If you know the college, if you're a parent of a child in the college, if you are a child in the college, let us know what you know about this particular incident. You can text or WhatsApp us on 0877 98 98 98. Anyway, what we understand is that a gun threat was allegedly made by a student. Now, I understand a student has been arrested this morning, but Ardgillan Community College in Balbriggan sent out a text to parents this morning informing them that the school will not open. Now, the text was very simple. Ardgillan College will be closed today, Tuesday, the 9th of October. We will be in touch today, later today, regarding school tomorrow. A local councillor who's the head of the Board of Management said, I can confirm that the school is closed after a threat was made. And here's what we understand. It's believed that a student made a threat over Instagram that they would bring a gun into school with them and shoot up the place. And, I mean, I've been sent photographs. There was a photograph of a gun. Now, it could have been any gun, but it says, oh, shit, he got a gun. He is shooting up the school. Nobody come in tomorrow. And then another post says, don't come in tomorrow. These were obviously all last night. Don't come in tomorrow if you have any regard for your life. You've been warned. And then another post, and I think these are all on Instagram. Another post says, ACC, which is Ardgillan Community College, getting shot up. Now, whether these were a joke or whether it's a joke that's gotten totally out of control, because from what we understand, a teenager has been arrested over these threats. Effort ACC, which is Ardgillan Community College, getting shot up. The other post says, from the same person, don't come in tomorrow if you have any regard for your life. You have been warned. And then another one with a photograph of a gun. Oh shit, he got a gun. He is shooting up the school. Nobody come in tomorrow. Now, they're fairly sinister threats, I'm sure you will agree. Now, we have reached out to the Board of Management of the school, and obviously this is only breaking as we speak, but we have reached out to the school and trying to confirm. But that is our understanding of exactly what has happened. I think I'm going to shoot up Ardgillan Community College tomorrow, which is a fairly sinister threat. And as I said, Gardaí are investigating, and we understand that somebody has been arrested, that a teenager has been arrested. But as I said, it's a breaking story that we are working on. And if we have any more information to bring you, we will. And if you are from the Balbriggan area or involved in the school, you can text or WhatsApp 0877 98 98 98. But from what I understand, there isn't much more information to be had surrounding that. But we will keep you up to date if we have any more information. Now, are you somebody who uses anabolic steroids? Well, if you are, you want to be wary, because a new public information campaign has been launched to raise awareness of the potentially serious side effects and health risks of using unprescribed anabolic steroids. And this was announced yesterday by the Health Products Regulatory Authority. Now, get a load of these statistics. This is quite shocking, actually. 1 in 10 adults would consider taking anabolic steroids, rising to more than 1 in 5 aged 18 to 34. 3 out of 4 people feel social media, TV and other media pressurize young adults to look a certain way. Some 50% in Ireland are unaware or unsure about the side effects of anabolic steroid use. And the volume of illegal anabolic steroids detained here in Ireland has increased tenfold between 2015 and 2017. And as I said, if you are somebody who uses anabolic steroids, I'd love to hear from you on 6797 981. You can text or WhatsApp us on 0877 98 98 98. I'm joined on the line by John Lynch, who is the Director of Compliance with the Health Products Regulatory Authority, to find out a little bit more about anabolic steroid use here in Ireland. John, how big of an issue is steroid use here in Ireland?
It's very difficult to say exactly on that, but there is strong evidence of increased use by by young people in particular, and young men, particularly in the 18 to 34 bracket, for building muscle and the perfect body image. And there's a lot of pressure on people to do that as well. Evidence from our point of view is we both look at the supply side and the demand side. On the supply side, we have, in the last year, through our enforcement activities in 2017, detained nearly 450,000 dosage units of anabolic steroids illegally supplied. And that compares with 109,000 units in 2016 and only 38,000 units in 2015. So there's a big increase. Also, needle exchange programs across the country are reporting an increased number of people who are using anabolic steroids coming for needle exchange. So there is a definite increase in use, and it's one that's very concerning to us, because the perception out there is that it's safe to use them, but we want to, from the health point of view, point out that there are considerable risks to health, both physical and psychological, from taking anabolic steroids. Okay,
so let's just focus firstly on the supply chain. It is illegal to supply anabolic steroids. Where are they coming from, and who's bringing them into the country?
Just first to say that anabolic steroids are prescription medicines, and there are some legally authorised products that are prescribed by doctors and dispensed by pharmacies, but that's for very specific medical conditions. The illegal supplies, there's some coming from the internet, but there are also quite well developed supply chains through criminal networks. We have managed through working closely with Revenue Customs and An Garda Síochána and using intelligence that we gain to intercept some of those supplies. In one case, certainly we found that it was almost a well-organised wholesaling operation that was supplying out to different places in the country. This is a completely illegal supply chain relative to the one that we're well familiar with through our pharmacy and the legal wholesalers. And
so as with any other type of illegal drug, are people supporting criminality by being involved in using anabolic steroids?
They certainly are. They may not knowingly or may not know that they're doing that, but they certainly are. These are illegal supply chains, and they are backed through by criminal networks as well. Anybody who is supplying these products is committing a criminal offence. And from our enforcement activities, we concentrate on the suppliers, not on the users. But in this case, our campaign in this case is very much about the health of the users, and to say to them that there are significant side effects and potentially, in worst cases, fatal side effects from the illegal use or the unsupervised use of these products.
Okay, now the figures that you've released show that 1 in 10 adults would consider taking anabolic steroids, rising to 1 in 5 in the 18 to 34 age group. Using these steroids seems to have some degree of acceptability in society, doesn't it?
Certainly, that seems to be the case, and it is openly discussed in some cases between young people, and that's why we really want to get the message out there that this is not something that's simple or entirely safe, that there are negative consequences.
Okay, so let me just find out what those negative consequences are. If you are somebody who regularly goes to the gym, somebody who works hard, works out hard, and then gets offered anabolic steroids to, finish the job, basically, what are the dangers? What are the downsides?
On the physical side, major organs, there can be negative effects on the heart, the liver, and the kidneys. Can also get the typical acne on the face and body. Potentially infertility, which could be reversible or could be permanent depending on the length of usage, and baldness. On the psychological side, typically there can be mood swings and aggression, or the so-called roid rage, and that could lead to depression again on after usage for a period.
Okay, now last year on this programme, we spoke to a woman on this show whose husband had taken his life following prolonged steroid use. That's how dangerous these can be.
Yes, there have been reports of a small number of fatalities, and there have been 2 inquests in relatively recent times relating to people who have died due to steroid usage.
So what is your message then?
Very serious.
Okay, so what is your message then to especially young men who are striving for that perfect muscular body and feel that the best way to do it is through steroid use?
Our first thing is to say don't use them because there is no shortcut. There are zero gains for your health in this, and that's the tag of our campaign, and to look at our website zerogains.ie and on Twitter #zerogains. There can be significant physical and psychological effects. If you are using, do stop, but you need to do so in a gradual, controlled manner. And if you have any concerns about your health, contact the doctor. If you have any concerns that you're using anabolic steroids. For working out, just take sound advice and a good diet. And finally, again, there are zero gains for your health in this. There are very serious side effects and potentially fatal side effects from using these products.
All right, John Lynch, Director of Compliance with the HPRA. Thanks very much indeed for joining us on 98 FM.
Thanks very much for having us on.
Now, something that I mentioned a couple of moments ago was a lady that we spoke on to on this programme before, and this is Sarita Egan, who opened up on how her husband experienced multiple episodes of psychosis and couldn't cope with the symptoms of withdrawal after taking steroids to look good for their wedding. And Sarita joins me on the line again. Sarita, welcome back to 98 FM.
Hiya, how are you?
Good, thank you. This campaign that has been launched to highlight the dangers of the use of anabolic steroids, obviously you're happy to see a campaign like this being launched.
Yeah, it's brilliant. Because a couple of years ago when my husband started, we never heard nothing. There was no talks on it and no warnings. So it's really good that it's getting out there.
So when he started taking anabolic steroids, he obviously thought it was a safe thing to do because he hadn't heard of any of the dangers.
Yeah, we didn't. There was no talks on the radio like there is now. There was not much warnings about it. There was more pros than there was cons.
So remind me of the story of your husband, Sarita. When and why did he start taking steroids?
We'd been together for 16 years at the time, and their wedding was coming up, and he was walking out and stuff and trying to build himself up, obviously, to look well for getting married. He didn't think he was getting anywhere with just walking out naturally and eating healthy and, doing the protein shakes and stuff. So he decided to start taking steroids. So really it was just a couple of months before we got married. But from the time we started, I slowly seen changes with him. And then that just went on for a couple of years. The changes got worse, and he did notice himself that he didn't like the changes in himself, and he tried to stop, but trying to come off them and the withdrawals of them are nearly as bad as being on them.
And what sort of effect did it have on him?
On them, he was like, you wouldn't know what way his mood would be from one day to the next. So one day it'd be really high and the next day it'd be really low. It's just mood changes. It'd be really, probably other people notice it as much, but when you're living with someone and you know them on a daily basis, you can see a lot of changes in their personality. Just little things would frustrate you. He'd have a lot of energy one day and then the next day have no energy at all. And it's just very frustrating for himself. It was very frustrating for himself to try and deal with. He would feel sick a lot as well. If he tried, when he wanted to stop taking them, he'd stop them. And the withdrawals of them would be literally no energy whatsoever, a really low mood, feeling really sick, really bad headaches, and even taking them after a long period of time, the paranoia was a really bad thing.
Okay, so, people's perception that you take steroids and suddenly your workouts at the gym are really going to pay off and you're going to look great and everything else. What you spoke to us about last year when we spoke to you is to highlight how tragic these can be and how, like in the case of your husband, it led to him taking his life. Yeah,
they're the devil to me, really, and he said it himself. They're the worst thing he ever started. Like he'd look in the mirror and see the changes in his body and see how well, he'd see the muscle, he'd see like the definition in his body and think this is brilliant. That's the only pro to it. There is no other pro to it, because all the downfalls, your mood swings, you feel sick, you've headaches, you're low energy, high energy. You just don't know where you are. You're putting a hormone into you basically that it's not meant to be. You're not meant to take it. It's not meant to be there, and it's confused. It messes up your brain psychologically. It really does.
Right, so he may have gotten some short-term gains, but the long-term effect that it had on him was just overwhelming.
The long-term effects, I noticed them over the years. He would be up and down, and he'd say, I'm going to stop them, and he'd wean off for a while, and then realise I can't do this and go back on again. He'd do cycles like 6 weeks and then go on and off and on and off. But it came to the stage where he was waiting for an appointment with the hospital to help him come off them safely. But it was just taking too long, so he just stopped himself. And then he went downhill from there. It was just, the withdrawals is really bad. They're very hard to come off. Even when you're taking steroids, you're paranoid over everything. And then with the withdrawals from them, because you're going from such a high to such a low, the paranoia and the sickness and I've never witnessed something as bad as I did with my husband, and it's very scary because I was with him for 16 years beforehand. He was a very stable person.
So June of last year, June 2017, after experiencing multiple episodes of psychosis, he finally took his own life.
Yeah.
And I'm sure And this is really what I want to get at people. I want to get into people's heads who are taking steroids. He left you and your kids all because he couldn't cope with the effect of coming off steroids.
No, he couldn't cope with it. He told me himself he wished he never started. He wished he never started, and he couldn't care if he was fat or skinny. He only realised then how bad they were and the side effects.
So what do you say to somebody who's listening to us right now who is continuing to take steroids and thinks they look great and there's going to be no downside to this, all the women will fancy me and all of that?
I'd listen to what I'm just after being saying, the life that I'm after living. My husband was a very stable person, thought he was doing no harm. He did look well from it, but it took his life at the end, and he left behind a family that loved him. So it's not worth it. It's definitely not worth it. You might be lucky and start them and be able to come off them easily with medical help, but it's definitely, you can't do it on your own. It's just not worth taking. There's too many cons to it. There's not, as I said to you there a moment ago as well. It works, and it's so much better for your health, your wealth. It's just not worth it.
All right, Sarita, I appreciate you. And I told you last year, I thought you were extremely brave speaking so publicly about this. And I hope the message gets through. And I hope this campaign achieves something. In fact, I'm going to be talking to somebody after the break who is continuing to use steroids. And I'd love to hear from you. If you're somebody who is or does use steroids or has in the past, what effect did it have on you? Call me now on 6797 981.
From Poolbeg to the 40-foot, congrats to R. Brian. 98 FM's 10K across the bay.
He did it, ladies and gentlemen.
Well done to Brian Marr, swimming 10K and raising over €10,000 for Special Olympics Ireland.
It was harder than I thought because the conditions were harder. It took just over 3.5 hours.
You can still donate at 98fm.com/thebigswim.
If you want to get a good night's sleep, then get a brand new Respa bed or mattress from Des Kelly Interiors with immediate delivery. Des Kelly Interiors, where quality beds cost less.
I'm worried. My mortgage has been sold to one of those funds. I don't know what to do.
Do you still owe much on the house?
Not that much, really. We've been making payments to get back on track.
Mm-hmm. Why not talk to MABS about Awalia, the free mortgage arrears support service? They have experts who help me every step of the way.
Call 0761 07 2000 or log on to mabs.ie to find out more. Awalia, the state-funded service for people in home mortgage arrears. Standard network charges may apply.
Are you brave enough or foolish enough? From the creators of Damnation and Carnival comes the most terrifying work yet. Bloodlust, Rise of the Vampiress at the Ambassador this October. Run through mazes, crawl through tunnels, scream at every turn as you try to escape the House of Horrors. Tickets from €21 on sale now. Additional charges may apply. Join us if you dare.
It's time to party, have fun, and save big at Harvey Norman. We're celebrating 15 years in Ireland and 15 years of great value and service with a 15th birthday sale. Get the Akai 65-inch 4K TV for just €749, saving you €250. Or get 15% off the Smeg 8kg heat pump tumble dryer, now €466. With so much more to enjoy and explore in store. Celebrate and save with us today. The Harvey Norman 15th birthday sale, now on.
If you watch sci-fi shows on a TV, then you must have a TV licence. It's the law. That's just one of the terms and conditions of life in Ireland. Other terms and conditions include possessing a supernatural interest in Area 51, using the power of your mind to understand teleportation and parallel universes, and knowing who's who in your favourite alliance against alien invaders from galaxies far, far away. Which is basically a way of saying that if you enjoy streaming or watching sci-fi shows on a TV, at home or at work, but don't have a TV licence, it's time to use the Force. So get yours at tvlicence.ie or at any post office. Brought to you by the Department of Communications, Climate Action and Environment.
but I just think we need to go over it again, Ciara.
Ciara's up against her biggest challenge. Can I grab you for a sec? At 5 o'clock, boss? The goal here is to have a healthy dinner tonight, but he's a tricky obstacle, enjoys the sound of his own voice, and he's playing a blinder.
If you look at paragraph 5.
But Ciara's not phased. She's going to race past him. And she's got the inside track straight to green aisle cauliflower rice in the freezer aisle. A real crowd pleaser with 86% fewer calories than its white rice rival. Tastes great with a curry, and Ciara is onto a winner of a dinner tonight. Green aisle, get to the goodness.
98 FM's Dublin Talks. With the new look, Des Kelly Interiors. Helping you choose the perfect carpet. 98 FM.
Now we're talking about steroid use, and I got this message and it says, Adrian, I'm sorry for that woman's loss, but steroid warnings have been there before I was even born, and I'm 31, and I've done them myself. I've done them myself as well. And once you stop taking them, you lose everything you worked up, which kind of makes a lot of sense. And it means if you want to keep up what you've gained from using steroids, well, you have to keep the steroids up. And then if you try to get off them, you're in a bad way. And then another message says, I am using steroids 17 years. I've had my ups and downs with my emotions and my fair share of roid rage, illnesses and whatever else you can think of, but I can't give them up. They have me mentally hooked. And Richard is the man who sent that message. We've been asked to disguise Richard's voice using steroids 17 years. Richard, the first question I wanted to ask you was, why do we have to disguise your voice? Is there a shame to being a steroid user?
No, it wouldn't be about the shame. It would be more about people that I work with. There is a bit of a taboo over them, so I have a fair idea that people do know anyway, but
okay, so people may know that you're using them, but you don't want to publicly admit it. Is that because you'd like people to think you've achieved what you've achieved without using steroids?
No, I'm actually fairly open around the people that I know and that will be around and in my circle, and they all know that I will be using steroids. So it's not about that, it's just, look, I would have started them about 2001, 2002, and the gains were immediate. They were instant compared to the work I was doing on myself. They were absolutely instant, and I think from that day they just got me hooked.
And I read a message out a moment ago about how when you come off them, you lose everything that you gained. So obviously that's one of the reasons that you are hooked on them.
No, that's false. Like if I put up 12 kilo, I will lose about 4 or 5 kilo more to retention. But you can still hold your gains. You can still hold, like, there's a shot you do now, it's a post-cycle shot, PTC shot, and that will actually keep your gains, keep about 80% of your gains. But it's not. It's more your physical look. It's like if I stand on the scales and I'm down a kilo, I'm torn apart. Like it mentally has me caught. Like I will never. I don't think I can't see myself ever getting away from them.
Okay, so you said in your message that, I'm sorry, my apologies for the sound of the voice disguiser, but it is what it is. You said that over the time you have had your fair share of rage, of illnesses and whatever else you can think of. Is it worth it?
No, it's not worth it. I'm sorry I ever started them. That's the truth. And if I was to say that to anybody out there, it would be, do not go near them, because for where my head is at, paranoia, just sort of, like, there'd be a day where I can actually picture that I'd kill someone. Just with the road rage. Like, I've often lifted the handbrake in the car and gone back after people over stupid instances. I nearly have to argue with myself not to do something. But when you go into the rage, there's no control. There's absolutely no control.
So why don't you give them up?
I can't. I just... when I come off them, I can't deal with the head.
So do you think you'll be on them for life? Will you be taking steroids when you're in your 60s?
I don't know. Look, I don't know. I can't give you an answer at that. At the minute, it's unforeseeable.
Now, when you heard that story from Sarita about her husband, Mark, taking his life last year as a direct result of the psychosis that the steroids created, of trying to come off them and all of that, does that not scare the living daylights out of you?
Nope. I've lost friends through it. Definitely not. People have committed suicide. People have ended up in institutions. A lot of people I know will do them. And no, it just doesn't deter me at all.
And this campaign that has been launched, basically saying zero gains, that there's nothing to be gained, that it's a slippery slope to ruining you, that still doesn't worry you, even though you know yourself you've had these side effects and everything else.
Listen, I know I study the side effects. I research every steroid I use, almost all steroids out there, and nothing deters me. I know what Tren will do to you. I know what anabolic will do to you. I know what D-balls do. I know what they all do, but they just do not deter me. The gains outweigh the loss.
Right, so this campaign saying zero gains is not going to discourage you from taking them.
The campaign means nothing. To anybody that's on steroids, and myself, absolutely means nothing. They can get the biggest and best doctors out there to tell us what they're going to, what the side effects are, what can cause this, if you're going to use them, if someone's going to use them, I'm one of them people that would have checked everything and not used them to see what happened deter me. Nothing deterred me.
I want to read a message that just came in, and I want to get your opinion on this. And it says, what does he mean by people might notice? The steroid effects are so unnatural, one would have to be either blind or not familiar with working out not to notice.
Yeah, look, it is what it is. You go to any gym in Ireland at this minute, right? 90%, 95% are on them. They're sticking them in the toilets, they're sticking them in the changing rooms, they're on them. So I don't really particularly care whether people do know or not, but it's just about my workplace and that at the minute, and I just would not, I can deny it, I can openly just say no, I'm not on them, but it is what it is.
It is what it is. All right, Richard, thanks very much indeed. But interesting about that conversation is that he, like he said, he denies it, and that's why he asked for his voice to be disguised, because he doesn't admit to it to people. Jeremy is here in the studio, and just to wrap this up, Jeremy, you yourself have been offered them.
I have, twice. Strangely enough, only on two different occasions. I've been going to the gym for the last 15 years, and I think there's lads in different gyms selling them, but I think they only approach people who they know will be interested in taking them, or that they'll trust. And on the two occasions I was offered them, on the first occasion I was offered them actually by a personal trainer, believe it or not. And he said to me, would you ever consider using steroids? Because I see you working out in the gym, but if you want to make gains is the big word here, okay? Gains. That's what they talk about. It's about gains. And he said, you're not making the gains you should be making.
You see, I think that's a pathetic personal trainer. He's either a good personal trainer or he's not. If he has to start using steroids to make you achieve more, then he's not a good trainer.
You look at most of the people in these bodybuilding competitions. Do you think they get that muscle naturally?
No, and that's the point.
Do you think wrestlers get those huge physiques? Do you think Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is that size because he just eats steak? The point is that this particular trainer said to me...
But if your body is not meant to be like that because you have to take something unnatural, then your body's not meant to be like that.
Yeah, that's why I didn't take them. I was terrified to take them. And what he said to me, what this trainer said to me at the time was, which worried me immensely, was he said, but you're only taking something that's present in your body anyway.
Sam, you are somebody who has only started using steroids.
Yeah, I did myself just recently, yeah.
And why?
I think there's too much pressure from the peers because, like most of my friends, they have nice bodies, and you find like I'm gay myself, and everyone is attracted to them while I don't have that good body. So I was like, no, I should go for them as well and have a bit of muscle as well.
And, okay, you've heard the warnings. You've heard about a man who took his life as a result of being on them and about getting hooked on them. You heard that guy a few minutes ago on them 17 years. As somebody who just started on them, are you not worried?
I am a little bit worried, but at the same time, like, I'm just like, oh no, I just have it. I just do it, like.
You just do it anyway?
Yeah.
So, when, like I said, the side effects, going bald, becoming possibly impotent, none of that worries you, no?
It does a little bit, but the thing is, as I said earlier on, like, I think we'll know to get there, like.
What would you say then to this expression, steroid users are losers?
I don't agree with that.
Steroid users are cheats?
No, I don't agree with that at all completely.
So if your body can't be improved by you and you alone through training and whatever, then that's just the way it is.
No, I tried improving my body without steroids before, like, and it wasn't working for me. And I just recently started, I think I'm about 2 or 3 weeks now on them, and I just realized, like, the amount of weight I can lift, like, it's just big improvement. Like, my body has changed, to be honest, like, in about 3-4 weeks, like.
I'd say, Adrian, about in the gyms I go to, I'd say about 1 in 5 young lads are juicing. That's what it's called, by the way. It's juicing for those. So if you hear people talking in the gym and you talk about him, he's on the juice or he's juicing, it means he's on steroids. The telltale sign, by the way, well, there's lots of telltale signs. One of the telltale signs that I can see is terrible acne on your back. You get really bad acne on your back, but nowhere else on your body. And the next time you're in a gym, and this is men and women, but I see it a lot with young men who are rugby players and who go to rugby schools. I'm talking about 17 and 16-year-olds, by the way. I'm not talking about grown men. And you see the top of their backs over their shoulders, absolutely covered in acne, and that's because they're juicing.
All right, now we heard from Sam. He wants to improve his body. He wants to be attractive. After the break, I want to talk about something a little bit lighter and a little bit different, and this is the unusual things that women find attractive in men.
Yeah, and surprisingly, just because of the conversation we just had, and Sam, you'll be upset to hear this, muscles actually isn't one of them. Women do.
You're wasting your time.
Women, there's this perception, and I always thought as well that women fancied men who look like Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, but clearly they actually don't. They want a man who actually has a neck. But yes, a story in the news today about the things that attract women the most in men. Okay, so we want women to spill the guts on this. Some of this stuff, Adrian, is quite bizarre. We want women to spill the guts and tell us, what features do you find most attractive in men? Now, it doesn't even have to be a physical feature. One of the features that women said they find attractive in men is the shoes he wears. Now, I have to be honest with you, I've never been on a date with a woman where she's turned around to me and says, "How are you, Jeremy? Lovely shoes."
Just as well, because the shoes you wear are hideous.
I wear Skechers. They're the most attractive.
And so does my 73-year-old father. So.
Is he getting many dates?
Oh, 75, actually.
Does he get many dates at the moment?
No.
But there you go. Women don't like...
Yeah, the shoes you wear are hideous. But anyhow, okay, ladies, we'd like to hear from you on this on 6797 981. Text or WhatsApp 0877 98 98 98. What unusual thing do you find an attractive feature in the opposite sex?
Now, one of the things on the list, I don't even know what this is. I'm terrified to find out. Does anybody know, Adrian, do you know what a happy trail is?
No.
Okay. I'm glad you said that, because I've no. Does anybody know what a happy trail is? Because one of the most attractive traits in a man, according to a woman, is a happy trail. It sounds quite rude. Have you ever left a happy trail?
I don't know. Maybe I have.
What the hell is a happy trail?
I've absolutely no idea. Text or WhatsApp 0877 98 98 98. What unusual thing do you find an attractive feature in the opposite sex?
Now, Adrian, during the break, don't leave a happy trail in the studio, okay? Wouldn't be appropriate.
Okay, now, referring back to something we dealt with earlier on in the programme, and that was the school in Balbriggan that was closed today. We got a statement from MKC Communications, and it says the following. Dublin and Dún Laoghaire Education and Training Board confirms that a school in North County Dublin was closed today on a precautionary basis arising from a matter which came to the attention of the school management and which has been referred to the Gardaí, who are investigating. There are no further issues arising from this matter, and we anticipate that the school will reopen as normal tomorrow. And here's the bizarre thing from a communications company. They add at the end of their statement, and it's bizarre, they obviously are operating in an office that doesn't have a Facebook account. We are respectfully requesting the media, in the event of knowing the name and location of the school, kindly not to identify the school name or location in reporting. Like I said, you clearly have never heard of social media. The name of this school is all over social media. It's Ardgillan College in Balbriggan. It was closed earlier on. If you missed the story earlier on, the school was closed after threats were made yesterday. It's believed that a student made a threat over Instagram that they would bring a gun into school with them and shoot up the place. So this is Ardgillan Community College in Balbriggan. So to the, what's his name? Tim from MKC Communications to be telling us not to announce what school it is. It's all over the bloody place, Tim. Absolutely everywhere. Okay. All right, now a quick break. We're back in just a moment.
98 FM's Big Ride Home with Dara Quilty.
Join me, Dara Quilty, today from 4 for your chance to get tickets for Lana Del Rey. Lana Del Rey just announced her first Irish show in over 3 years, Malahide Castle, on June 22nd. Your chance to win pre-sale tickets today on the Big Ride Home from 4.
98 FM's Big Ride Home with Tesco, where you won't pay more for products that matter to you. 98 FM.
Autumn, my favourite time of the year. Cozy nights by the fire, leaves falling on the ground, and prices falling in the autumn sale. Yep, summer may be over, but the bargains are just beginning at ApplianceDeliver.ie, with up to 20% off washing machines, up to 25% off dishwashers, and up to 30% off tumble dryers and cooking. And for those long nights in, binging on box sets and stuffing your face with chocolate, there's also up to 20% off TVs. The autumn sale now on at ApplianceDeliver.ie.
Something exciting is coming to Dublin, combining 80 years of service excellence with 120 years of German engineering. Linder's Opel, the new name for Opel in Finglas and Turvey. Now open with the 191 range, featuring new Grandland X. Drop in and meet our expert sales and service teams for all your motoring needs. Join us this Saturday to celebrate our launch. Find your perfect 191 Opel, then choose your perfect offer with a free gift for orders on the day. Visit lindersopel.ie for details or drop into us at Finglas and Turvey. Linder's Opel, now open. Terms and conditions apply.
Ollie Murs. Live at 3 Arena, May 13th. It's your tickets from $39.05 go on sale this Friday at 9 a.m. Maybe subject to fees. Kiss me like you mean it. This is the last night. Presented by Aiken Promotions in association with the Irish Independent and Dublin's 98 FM.
I was just me, but now there's a you inside of me, which makes us two, me and you. I've given up nights out for now. I've taken up yoga, it hurts. And I'm getting the flu vaccine, which may sting, but flu can cause serious illness or death. So I'll be our lifesaver. I will protect you and me. You just keep on swimming.
The flu vaccine is a lifesaver for pregnant mothers. Ask your GP, pharmacist, or visit hse.ie.
Hi, you're in the car again with your silent 15-year-old. And I know you're thinking she's going to have another go about listening. But never have a go. I know it's hard. And you're probably thinking everything's grand anyway. But listening isn't just for when there's a crisis or disaster. It's any time. And the thing is, if you listen to something small, it can stop it becoming big. So go on, ask them how they are and listen.
Lidl support Jigsaw, and Jigsaw supports us all by helping us be the one good adult in young people's lives. Pick up your Lidl Book of Listening in-store throughout Mental Health Week.
Epic entertainment awaits. Transform your world with Air. Sign up today and get totally unlimited super fast fibre broadband plus free Air Sport and BT Sport for just $39.99 a month. And all on a 12-month contract. For more on this epic offer, call 1-800-500-300, go in store or visit air.ie. Air. Let's make possible.
New customers only, €59.99 a month thereafter. Subject to availability. User experience may vary. Bundle activation fee may apply. For full details and terms, see air.ie.
98FM's Dublin Talks. With the new look, Des Kelly Interiors. For even more choice in wood flooring. 98FM.
It's Tuesday's Dublin Talks. This is 98FM. I'm Adrian, and that man there is Jeremy. And Jeremy has a list of unusual things that women find attractive in men. And I'd like you, if you are a lady, to text or WhatsApp 0877 98 98 98. What unusual things do you find attractive in men?
Because then we can change. You know what I mean? If there's something that we're not doing right, you know, like obviously the shoes thing. I wasn't aware that women find shoes attractive. It's bizarre, really. And then I'll just throw out all my old shoes.
Let me just have a look. Yeah, no, nobody is going to find them attractive. Male, female, dog, cat, nobody.
Well, I think if you're on a date and the woman is paying more attention to your shoes than your face, you've issues. Yeah.
Now, we were talking, one of the things that's on the list is a happy trail, which I've no idea what it is.
I had no idea.
But Peter, you actually do know what a happy trail is.
Yeah, it's the same. It's basically the male version of the female landing strip. It's the bit of hair that goes from your belly button all the way down to the D.
Oh, I don't have that.
That's the happy trail.
Right.
It's the same. It's the same with women. They have the landing strip, if you know what that is.
Yes, I do. Yeah.
Yeah, it's basically the male version of the landing strip.
Right.
Okay, I don't have it. Do you have it, Adrian?
No, I'd have to go and invest in one.
I don't know.
Can you buy it?
I don't know.
No, you can't buy it. You can't buy it.
You have to sculpt it.
You basically, you're getting your wax all done. You get it done.
Oh, okay. And do you have it yourself? Do you have it yourself?
No, I'm waxed all over. No hair to my body, my head to my toe, no hair at all.
Oh,
okay. I wasn't expecting that.
No, it wasn't myself.
It's just the two hair isn't smelly and all. No way.
Ew. All right, Peter. Thank you for enlightening us. That's what a happy trail is.
So it's your belly button hair. It's a line. I'm after Googling it now and I can see what it is. It's a line of hair basically going from your belly button all the way down. I don't know what's attractive about it, to be honest with you.
Well, apparently it's on the list. Okay, I'd like to hear from you. Text or WhatsApp 0877 98 98 98. 0877 98 98 98. What unusual thing do you find attractive in the opposite sex? For example, here's a lady who just texted us in and says, sexy veins in their forearms. Ew.
I've never heard of a vein being called sexy before. I know what they mean though. When you would know this, Adrian, but when your body fat is very, very low, like hang on, let me roll up my sleeve there.
Yeah,
look at those veins.
I can't see any veins.
Hang on, where are your veins?
So sexy veins in their forearms.
Yeah, like if you look at bodybuilders, they have veins going through their forearms. No.
Oh, is that not back to our conversation about steroids, no?
No, it's just if you're low body fat, you end up having veins. Your veins are popping out.
Okay, keep your messages coming in. Text 0877 98 98 98. What attractive things unusual things do you find attractive in the opposite sex? Okay, here's another one here. Really hear this one. Hang on, where's it gone? I find, this is really bizarre, I find a bloke with clean white runners and a tracksuit is attractive.
Geez, you set your standards very high. You really do.
That's what it says. Clean, but they have to be clean white runners.
Okay.
And a tracksuit. That lady finds that particularly attractive.
Yeah, see, I'm completely different. When you buy new runners, I hate wearing new runners out. I always have to mash them up a bit, make them look dirty. I think it looks disgusting, isn't it, when you're wearing brand new runners?
Okay, keep your messages coming in to 0877 98 98 98. What unusual thing do you find attractive in the opposite sex? Tanisha, you're on 98 FM. Hiya, Tanisha.
Hey, I'm back again.
Tanisha, what do you find attractive in the opposite sex?
Do you know, like, when your fella would come home after, like, being in the gym or something and he'd have the smell of fresh sweat, like...
smell of fresh sweat.
Yeah, like it's a real manly smell, like fresh sweat.
I didn't know there was a smell.
It's lovely.
Oh, it's lovely.
Oh.
My friends like me, but I love it. Like.
Oh.
Now, you see, would you not hop in the shower after being in the gym, no?
Yeah, but I'd have to have a whip before we get in the shower, like.
Who said romance is dead? Come here and let me smell your fresh sweat. No, yeah. I know you are making. The difference is fresh sweat doesn't smell like stale sweat smells.
Yes, indeed. And
it's not like a smelly. It's not like a disgusting smell. Like it's different.
Right. Okay. So you like the fresh smell of sweat?
Yeah.
And like, do you sniff under his armpits or where do you?
Yeah. He'd just be like, "Go away from me, you weirdo." But I just. Like the smell of it, like.
So I'm picturing your boyfriend arriving home from the gym and you, Tanisha, saying, lift up your armpit there.
Yeah, I actually do that. Like.
Oh my God.
Ew.
I love it.
Okay. Yeah, well, if it works for you, then we did ask for unusual things that you find attractive about the opposite sex. And, fresh sweat. The smell of fresh sweat. Fran, you're on 98 FM. Hi, Fran.
Hi, Adrian. How are you?
Now, Fran, we're asking, what's your answer? Manners?
Yeah. It's unusual nowadays to find someone with manners. It's very attractive.
Yeah, you would think so, Fran, but only what day was it? Thursday, I was going into Dunn's and Stephen's Green around the corner from 98 FM here. Yeah. And the side entrance of Dunn's, there's doors that you have to hold open.
Yeah.
And I was going up the stairs. And
I'll do that for anybody.
Yeah, but I saw a woman coming behind me and she was carrying a bag. One bag she was carrying, and I decided to hold the door open for her. I stood there for about 10 seconds to hold the door. And she didn't even say thank you. It was like, why are you holding the door open for me?
Yeah. You're a sexist pig if you hold the door open for a woman.
Yeah,
it's sheer manners, that's all.
But I don't think women want that anymore, Fran.
No, they don't.
Yeah. They don't want doors held up open.
Oh, that's fine. That suits me.
Yeah.
All right, Fran, thank you. Manners is an attractive trait. Shauna.
Hi, how are you?
Hi, Shauna. We're asking you, what unusual thing do you find attractive in the opposite sex?
I find a bum attractive.
A bum?
Yeah.
Now, men's bums aren't anything like their female counterpart.
Well, it's only because we don't wear the clothes. Men don't wear clothes that complements their bums. Women do.
Yeah.
Oh,
well,
really?
my husband has a round, perky bum, and when he's in his underwear in the bedroom, he has a lovely bum.
I bet you now him and all his... Is he in work at the moment?
Yeah.
Him and all his work colleagues listen to 98 FM in the moment, and you've just shamed the man. And his nickname in work from now on is going to be Perky Bum.
It's a great name to have. He has a great bum.
Has he? And okay, so what makes a man's bum? Because I know I'm a bum man in that I love...
Sorry, what?
I love women's bums. Yeah?
Okay.
It's one of the things that I find attractive about women.
Calm down there,
right?
Yeah.
But I always thought men's bums are just boring.
No, he doesn't even go to the gym or anything. He's the most laziest man you'll ever meet, but he has the perfect bum.
Mine's spotty and hairy. Just throwing that out there.
Right, okay, but then you won't do it for Shauna, thankfully.
No.
All right, so a man's bum, thanks, Shauna. And finally, Morris, what unusual thing do you find attractive in the opposite sex?
Oh, I have a big thing about women's feet, Adrian, to be honest with you.
Right.
But very specifically, nylon-clad toes, but they've got to be painted red or pink. Absolutely irresistible.
So, women's toes that have their nails painted red or pink?
Yes, and preferably covered in sheer nylon. A bit of a foot fetish, but it depends on the foot. It really depends on the foot.
Yeah, I've always found foot fetishes weird because the foot is the most ugly part of a person's body. It's disgusting.
It is, yeah.
Well, you'd be amazed the number of men share the same thing, believe you me.
And how would you spot when you're in a nightclub or a pub, how would you spot a woman's feet? Do you go around on your knees looking at women's feet?
Well, no, in the summertime there's plenty of feet on show, to be honest with you, and I'm a bit old for nightclubs at this stage, to be honest with you. So, first thing I look at, women's feet.
All right, now somebody just messaged in, the one thing I find attractive is ankles. What's attractive about an ankle?
Well, it doesn't mean that you can't be a very good person and fancy a woman's ankle, but I'm a foot man, not a bum man, not a boob man. I like women's feet.
You're a bit left of centre, Morris, aren't you? You're a bit left
but
of...
I'm a very kind, good, decent person at the same time.
Yeah, I know. Just I wouldn't be inviting you to my house for a party now. Thanks.
Well, you You just put a message out there. How many men share this, and you may be surprised. So there you go.
Thanks, Morris.
Okay, yeah.
Good luck.
Adrian, do you share a secret foot fetish?
No, I don't. No. Oh my God, says this message. When people don't say thanks for holding the door open. That's somebody who's
but I think it's got to the stage now. Sure, myself and Adrian offered to change a woman's wheel on her car one night. She was broken down on the N11. She was a damsel in distress, just as an organ. Myself and Adrian were coming up the N11 and we spotted her, and I said, Adrian, pull over there and help change that woman's wheel. We pulled over the car and Adrian shouted out the window, how are you?
I'll give you a hand.
2 lads here. Do you want us to help you change your wheel? What did she reply to you? I can do it. I can do it
myself.
Yeah, that's what she said.
Yep, that's a true story, yeah.
Half an hour later, we drove back and she was still there with
there, good enough for her. Anyway, quick break. We're back in just a moment.
98 FM's Dublin Talks. With the new look, Des Kelly Interiors. For even more choice in wood flooring. 98 FM.
The year is 1927, and the work is half done. This will be the core of the scheme, the power station at Ardnacrusher.
In 1927, ESB took a bold first step, harnessing the power of the Shannon to bring light and energy to the nation. Now ESB is leading the way to a clean energy future, powered by electricity, creating a brighter future for all. Find out more at esb.ie.
When you want to stay somewhere,
don't sit on the fence.
You'll stay in a Travelodge when you hear the evidence.
Great rooms, big beds, locations.
This place has it all. And for such amazing value,
that's Travelodge Love. Visit Travelodge.ie.
At Lidl, we go out every week and check competitors' prices so you don't have to, giving you everything you want from your weekly shop at lower prices. From Thursday, check out our 3 for €9 mix and match meats like round steak, pork salt and boca, and chicken cordon bleu. And try our big brand super savers like Tato 12-pack, only $2.99, and Danone Activia yogurts, just $1.99. Lidl, more for you.
Hello, I'm Liz O'Donnell, Chairperson of the Road Safety Authority. Do you know someone who's led the way and helped make the road safer for your community, school or workplace? The Road Safety Authority's Leading Lights and Road Safety Awards is our chance to thank these people and give them the recognition they deserve. The closing date is the 26th of October. Let's honour their contribution. Visit rsa.ie to make your nomination.
For the best deals on the biggest range of used cars in Ireland, go direct to Use Direct Ireland. We have access to the entire Charleshurst Northern Ireland stock, so no need to go north. Best prices guaranteed. Use Direct Ireland, exit 2N7. See usedirectireland.ie.
It's great to see you, lads.
Cheers.
Can't believe it's been nearly a year. Well, we can make up for it tonight. What we eating? Could get some wings. Hey, how about a curry? I've got it. Boojum. Really? We can get Boojum delivered? Yeah, on Deliveroo. Well, let's get ordering then.
download the app and get your favourite restaurants delivered. Only on Deliveroo. Eat more amazing.
Free fitting, fitting for free, free installation. No matter how you say it, it still sounds too good to be true.
Well, it is true. Cash and Carry Kitchens are fitting a select range of kitchens and wardrobes for free.
So we can choose their traditional ivory kitchen.
Or their shaker ivory kitchen. And
have it fitted free of charge?
Yes. And kitchens and wardrobes from Cash and Carry Kitchens qualify for the HRI. So we could get a tax rebate worth hundreds of euro.
I need to sit down.
Offer applies to selected kitchens and wardrobes. See in-store for details or go online to cashandcarrykitchens.ie. Terms and conditions apply.
98.
Live and exclusive to Dublin's 98 FM, Monday through Friday between 10 and midday. This is Adrian Kennedy. You're with 98 FM's Dublin Talks. And Georgie is here with Tuesday's top headlines.
Thanks, Adrian. Good morning. A school in Balbriggan has been closed after a student allegedly made gun threats against staff and students. A 16-year-old boy has been arrested by Gardaí investigating the incident at Ardgillan College. You can check out the full story on 98fm.com. The Cabinet is meeting at the moment to sign off on Budget 2019 income tax cuts, and more money for affordable housing and childcare can be expected today. Today is the last day to register to vote in the upcoming presidential election. You can check if you're registered by visiting checktheregister.ie. And Dakota Johnson's people have denied pregnancy rumours. Rumours started when her boyfriend Chris Martin threw her a party in Malibu last weekend with pink and blue balloons. Now you're up to date on 98.
98 98 FM's Dublin Talks. Dublin Talks with Adrian Kennedy.
Tuesday morning, good morning. How are you? I'm Adrian. This is 98 FM's Dublin Talks. If you want to get in touch with us, by the way, about anything, if you want to bring something up on the programme, it's very easy to get in contact with us. You send us an email to dublintalks@98fm.com. You can also send us a private message to our Facebook page, which is facebook.com/Adrian K and Jeremy D. Now, next on the programme, with the budget just a matter of hours away, the Irish Refugee Council has called on the government to extend child benefit to children in direct provision in today's budget. Their submission also calls for a rise in legal aid to increase the amount of time a solicitor can spend helping a person seeking asylum with their application. And they're also calling for an increase in the direct provision payment. Now, at this moment, if somebody is in direct provision, is living in one of the reception centres, they get a weekly allowance of $21.60 and $21.60 for every child they have. So if there's a mammy and a daddy and let's say 3 children, they get €105. Not an awful lot of money to survive on. Anyhow, they've called for that $21.60 to be increased to $38.74. And one of the things that shocks me is that a child born in Ireland that happens to live in direct provision doesn't get children's allowance. To explain a little bit more, I'm joined on the line by Caroline Reid, who is the communications officer with the Irish Refugee Council. Caroline, welcome to 98 FM. Can you explain to me what is the current position?
Well, at present, they're not in receipt of it. They're not entitled to it. So at the moment, children receive a weekly allowance of €21.60, and that's an amount that was increased for the first time in about 18 years back in 2017. So it was brought up from €9.60 to €21.60. There was a time when young children in direct provision were entitled to child benefit, but the payment was discontinued, or this group of young people were excluded from what was meant to be a universal payment to offset poverty back in 2004.
So if a child is born in Ireland and happens to be living in direct provision while their family's case is being dealt with, that child doesn't get child benefit?
They don't, no. So although they're in Ireland, although, as you mentioned, they may have been born in Ireland and they are in a legal process, so legally resident in the state while that process is ongoing, they're excluded from this payment.
Right, so they are discriminated against compared to any other child born in Ireland?
Well, I guess from our point of view, is it's like if it's a universal payment, and I guess the whole point of the payment was it was designed specifically to alleviate childhood poverty. And yet the children that we're talking about living in direct provision are probably some of the most, I guess, they're locked into a poverty cycle. It's also, I guess, a lot of parents really struggling. The children do go to school, but trying to pay for any kind of extracurricular activities or sports clubs or the normal things that young children participate in as they go through school can be incredibly difficult for parents because they are living on such limited means. So it is discriminatory. It's definitely not a universal payment, and the reality is, like, the children who need it the most are, they've no access to it or they've no entitlement to it.
Now, with the budget only a couple of hours away, you've also called for an increase in the direct provision payment. What level is that currently at? And this is the amount of money that somebody is given if they are living in direct provision. What is that currently at?
So at the moment, the payment is €21.60 a week for adults, and it's also €21.60 a week for children. So as I mentioned earlier, that allowance has only had one increase in the last 18 years. So the adult allowance was brought up from €19.10 to €21.60, and the child allowance was brought up from €9.60 to €21.60. So the increases initially came about after a government working group that was brought together to try to address some of the issues in our asylum process and the reception of people seeking asylum. But the increases fell short of what that working group recommended, and it was a recommendation that was accepted by the government. So we'd be calling for the allowances to be increased to what was recommended by this working group. So that would be an increase to €38.74 per week for adults and €29.80 per week for children.
Okay, and this was recommended in a report back in 2015. So that's a fairly dramatic increase, though, from $21.60 to $38.74.
But I guess if you look back in the last 18 years, it's an amount that hasn't changed at all, regardless of, I guess, buster boom in Ireland. So it's an increase that probably should have been happening in response to the economic situation in Ireland over the last 2 decades, but it hasn't. So I think it's an increase that's been a long time coming.
Have you gotten any feedback as to whether it's likely to happen or any increase likely to happen today?
We haven't, no. We put in our submission back in the summer, but I guess it's a game of wait and see, like many other people awaiting budget 2019. All
right. Caroline Reid from the Irish Refugee Council, thank you very much indeed for joining us on 98 FM.
Thank you.
And I'd like to hear from you on 6797 981. You can text or WhatsApp the programme on 0877 98 98 98. Do you believe, and here's the thing, and in fact somebody, you got this exactly right. It seems extremely unfair that somebody who is absolutely minted gets children's allowance while somebody on a direct provision payment who's like literally living in poverty doesn't get any, gets no children's allowance. It also seems desperately unfair. I mean, here's what the message says. Why do families receive children's allowance when they earn 6 or 7 figures? They receive the same amount as those in poverty. It is absolutely ridiculous, says that message. So the question we're asking is, well, twofold. One is, should children living in direct provision, some of whom were born in Ireland, be given children's allowance? And it genuinely shocks me that a child can be born in the Rotunda Hospital and just happens to live in direct provision and therefore gets absolutely no money from the state in terms of children's allowance, where every other child born in that hospital, even those born to multimillionaires, get the €140 a month. Seems a little, well, maybe it's just me. Call me right now on 6797 981. You can text or WhatsApp the programme 0877 98 98 98. 0877 98 98 98. The question we're asking is, should children in direct provision be given children's allowance? And we're also asking, should the payment to those in direct provision be increased? At this moment, it's a mere €21.60. Should it be increased? The recommendation was that it be increased to $38.74. Yvonne, you're on 98 FM. How are you, Yvonne?
Hi, good morning.
Good morning, Yvonne. How are you? Now, you, it says on my screen here, can't believe the ignorance on our Facebook page about this. But in what way?
To be fair, when I saw the question, right, I was just looking at reactions. My answer was just the reactions. I was shocked, okay? Because what most people do not realize is being an asylum seeker in Ireland, like, of course, the law was changed in June or July, I'm not very sure, but I do know before that, asylum seekers were not allowed to work. They're not allowed to do anything that would give them any extra income legally.
Yes, correct, yes.
You know what I mean? So at that time, what the government did was, because I am not an asylum seeker. I was never an asylum seeker, but I have had friends in that position, and I still do have friends in that position. What I know is the government paid them, I think, 21 or 22 euro.
Yes,
okay,
a week.
per
yes,
week.
Per person, yeah.
Per week. That's how much they got. Okay, so to be fair, is that enough money for anyone to actually live on? I don't know. For me personally, it isn't.
Well, no, it is. That is paid to people who are in direct provision, and people in direct provision have a roof over their head, have 3 meals a day. It's not like they have to go and buy food. They get fed. They have somewhere to live. Mightn't be ideal, but they have somewhere to live. So what more else do you need?
Okay, so now the question is that they were asking for child support, okay? So they're asking for child support. Okay, so recently the rule was changed to say they could work, right? fine. I'm not saying that if someone if an asylum seeker is not interested in working, if they say no, I don't want to work, all I want to do is receive the benefits, then fine, don't give them the child support. That's absolutely fine. But if there's one who actually goes out there to get a job and is working legally, why can't they receive the child benefit then? What's wrong with that? What's wrong with actually receiving it if they're actually working? Do you know what I mean?
Yes. The one thing that shocks me about these, what I've learned today, is that children born in Ireland who just happen to be in direct provision don't get children's allowance. So they're immediately discriminated against from birth, even though it is supposed to be a universal payment to everybody, every child. There you go. That's actually shocking. So some people in the comments were like, oh, if you were born in Ireland, then you deserve the money. So exactly, if those children were born in Ireland, why don't they deserve the money? Why don't they deserve child benefit? What's wrong with the parents saying, okay, give me €100. Oh, fine, don't give them €100 or how much, whatever it is they give, because I'm not very sure. Give them 50. Give them something. Do you know what I mean? Give them something. Okay, stay there for 1 second, Yvonne. 6797981 is our telephone number. Text or WhatsApp the programme 0877 98 98 98. And if anybody has any convincing argument as to why children born into direct provision should not receive children's allowance, I'd love to hear what your reasoning is. Call me on 6797981. You can text or WhatsApp 0877 98 98 98. Matthew, you're on Dublin's 98 FM. Hiya, Matthew.
Hi, I'm not too bad.
Now, Matthew, you were basically in your message a moment ago said every child should receive child benefit. End of.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely, 100% they should get it. Like, you're talking about kids who've done absolutely nothing wrong, who are innocent in every situation. And to turn around and say that they don't deserve child benefit just because they come from another country seems like ridiculous. And there's a hint of discrimination or racism behind that sentiment. Like, saying that, oh, they don't get it, they shouldn't get it, because they're not Irish, is basically saying they shouldn't get it because they're different. And to me, that just makes no sense. And one of the things that pisses me off too is I've seen on your Facebook page, I've seen a lot of the people who are arguing against them getting it were also some of the people who were against the 8th Amendment referendum, which I know is a separate topic, but you know, their argument against the 8th referendum was we have to protect children, we have to take care of the children. But these children are born and they don't have any interest and they don't care. And also their extension of loving these children only goes to those children who are Irish. And you could say most of those children who are Irish are probably white. I mean, I know in Ireland we have a lot of kids who are not white, who maybe mixed relationships or who came, their first generation Irish, whatever. But there just seems to be no good reason for it. And any reason that someone puts forward, it's just steeped in like a discrimination or a racism. Okay,
so we were mentioning that the allowance that a family gets is $21.60 per family member. So if there's 4 of you, that's £84 or whatever you'll get. It's not an awful lot of money. You're certainly not going to be rich on that sort of money. You believe that that's nonsensical to be expecting people to survive. Now, having said that, and I have to clarify, you know, if you're in direct provision, you do have a roof over your head and you do have 3 square meals a day. So the $21.60 is on top of all that. It's just your socialising money, I suppose.
Well, yeah, you could look at it as socialising money, but like they don't get any money for, you know, clothes for kids to go to school, for school books, for extracurricular activities. You know what I mean? Like saying they get 3 meals a day. What's the quality of that? And then also I remember another radio station did a thing about direct provision last year. I was listening to it, and you know, these kids are put in with random people they don't know. You know, it's not always the safest environment for them to be in. So like it just seems like there's no way that you can compare the situation. And one of the things that I've noticed too, and I've talked to friends about this who are against, you know, refugees coming into the country or whatever, and they always say like, you know, well, I have to survive on this much money. Like they always complain about not having enough money when they're on the dole, but they expect people to be fine with 20 quid, or 80 quid if there's 4 of them, just because they're living in a shitty little chalet up in Mosney or wherever they are. You know what I mean? It doesn't make any sense to me.
And just for people who don't know what direct provision is, this is where somebody applies for asylum here in Ireland, coming from wherever they've come, and they will be put into what they call reception centre. There's one in Balseskin out my way, out in near Meekstown. There's Mosney, and they basically get a roof over their head, they get fed, and that's really it. It's not luxurious living by any stretch of the imagination. And then on top of that, they get $21.60 a week. But the children, even if the children are born here, don't even get children's allowance. And that's what we're asking. Should this allowance be given? Jay, you're on 98 FM. How are you?
Morning, Adrian.
Morning, Jay. How are you getting on? What's your point on this?
The way I see it is, like, the children that are in them reception centres, whatever they're called, they're not Irish citizens. So why should the Irish state be funding them even more than what we already are?
So what are you saying? That if a child, even if they're born here,
Even if they're born here, they're not Irish citizens. I'm sorry, but that's the facts now.
I don't believe that's the facts
now.
No,
I'll tell you the facts are, unless one of their parents is already an Irish citizen, they're no longer Irish citizens just by being born here.
No, their parents aren't automatically entitled
to the children. Just because the child is born here doesn't automatically make it an Irish citizen unless one of their parents was already an Irish citizen at the time.
Okay,
That's the way it is now.
But okay, the fact of the matter is a child born in the Rotunda Hospital next to another child born in the Rotunda Hospital, one is in direct provision, the other is...
The one is not an Irish citizen, that's the point. If I had an American come over, have a child here, they wouldn't get it either.
Okay, so as far as you're concerned, if they're, regardless of where they're born, if they're not Irish citizens, they're not entitled to it.
I don't think they should be getting any. We're taking them in. We're giving them a roof over their head. We're giving them food. We're giving them education. Everything while they're waiting to be processed. I think they're getting enough.
Okay, stay there for 1 second. A child born on the island of Ireland on or after the 1st of January 2005 is entitled to Irish citizenship if they have a British parent or a parent who is entitled to live in Northern Ireland or the Republic without restriction on their residency. These parents must prove that they have a genuine link to Ireland. Okay, there you go. Irene, you're on 98 FM. How are you, Irene?
Good morning, Adrian. How are you?
I'm good, thank you, Irene. What did you want to say on this?
That gentleman is right. The reason why they've done that is because years ago you were coming in, just having babies and going straight to Rotunda. So the government stepped in because then the children were becoming instantly Irish citizens. So the government had to step in to stop that, right? So that's why they're not considered Irish residents, because they're they're coming from outside Europe, and you know what I mean? So that's why the government had to stop that. They were literally coming in, having babies.
Yes, I'm aware of that, yes.
Well, that's why that happened, right? Now, I think the person who's getting, we say, £22 per head is the wife, husband, 2 children. It's £80 into their pocket with nothing to pay. See, they're not paying the SB bill, not paying heating, not paying food, not paying transport for the kids to school, they don't pay for education, they don't pay for the hospitals. They get everything free, Adrian, so they're better off than a person who's actually working on the minimum wage. When you think about it, has to pay everything and pay bills and all, you know what I mean?
Okay, let me ask you this. Do you believe that children living in direct provision should not be given children's allowance?
Absolutely not. They're not Irish citizens. And you see what's happening in this country, it's a free-for-all. That's what's happening, and everybody knows about it. It's a free-for-all in this country, Adrian. As I noticed from last week, which I admire you for what you did last week, was the only programme to highlight what the Taoiseach said. There's one every 6 person is non-national. I mean, come on. How much have we got to give? Do you know what I mean? I mean, you think of people that's trying to pay more.
Do you not see the unfairness,
no, I don't see any
Irene?
unfairness, because they're getting kept, Adrian, and they're getting £80. A family of 4, say a husband and wife, 2 kids, they've £80 a week that they don't have to do anything with unless they choose to. Their children are clothed I know all about them. I know what they get. A whole documentary was done about them. And it's gone ridiculous, you know what I mean? Because we're only in small islands, you know. What's happening in our country is because of Brexit now, they're all trying to get in here, you know what I mean? So what do we do? What does people do, Adrian? You know, we have our own people can't get housed. I think it's just ridiculous. No one is saying don't help those in war zones. Absolutely agree with that. But I don't agree with people just walking in here and claiming silence. It's ridiculous.
Okay, stay there for 1 second, Irene, because I have to take a very quick break, but I'll come back to you in a second. Our telephone number is 6797 981. You can text or WhatsApp the programme on 0877 98 98 98. 0877 98 98 98. The question we're asking is, should children who are living in direct provision, in other words, they haven't been granted leave to stay in the country, their cases are being dealt with, they get an allowance of €20.60 a week each, but that's it, that's all they get. But should those children get children's allowance as well? We're back in just a moment.
98 FM's Job Spot.
The school food company School Canteen in Clondalkin are hiring a supervisor. Staff are required at a dry cleaners in Ballycullen. Dylan Bradshaw Hair Salon have a vacancy for a senior stylist. For more details and all the contact information required, see 98fm.com/jobs, or if you've got a vacancy, email it to jobs@98fm.com.
Tiles and bathrooms, wood and floors, and house and tiles. The choice is yours.
Sale now on. Large format porcelain tiles were $29.90 a square yard. Now only $16.90 a square yard. Drop into our showrooms on the Long Mile Road, Coolock, Blanchardstown, Bray, and our brand new superstore in Stillorgan Industrial Estate, Sandyford, or visit houseoftiles.ie.
Selling your property? Join the hundreds saving thousands with Movingo.com. The estate agent with no hefty commission rates, just one fair fixed fee. Secure the very best price for your property. Join the hundreds saving thousands and visit Movingo.com now. That's MOOVINGO.com.
Don't stress out over your insurance. At Chill Insurance, we search leading insurers to find you the right policy at the best price. Chill Insurance. We'll take it from here. Chill Insurance Limited, trading as Chill Insurance, is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
Smile if you're an Electric Ireland electricity and gas customer, because compared to being with other suppliers, you're saving up to €806 with us, excluding year one discounts, giving you the best long-term savings over 3 years. Search Electric Ireland Price Check and see how much you're saving. Because being with Electric Ireland is smart, staying with us long-term is smarter. Electric Ireland, that's smarter living. Conditions apply. Estimated annual bill is €1,673. Year one discounts excluded. Dual fuel, direct debit and online billing. Residential customers only. See comparison at electricireland.ie/price check. Based on rates at October 1st, 2018.
At Lidl, we listen to your feedback, and we've introduced over 300 new products to our range this year. Like our new Deluxe 4-pack gluten-free nut bars for a cracking $2.99, and Meridian peanut butter, only $4.89. Lidl, more for you.
This October in Home Store and More, all Halloween, all pillows, and all decorative and novelty lighting is half price. But better hurry, because when all the half-price Halloween is gone, it's gone. And when all the half-price pillows are gone, they're gone too. And as for all the half-price decorative and novelty lighting, when it's gone, it's definitely gone. All offers available online at homestoreandmore.ie, as well as in-store at Home Store and More, Bellegarde, Nutgrove, Fonthill, Blanche and Swords. Home Store and More. Believe what we say. More savings every day.
98 FM's Dublin Talks. With the new look Des Kelly Interiors. Sleep soundly with high-quality bedding. 98 FM.
This is Adrian Kennedy with you until midday today, and our telephone number is 6797 981. We're in the middle of a conversation all to do with whether or not children in direct provision should be given children's allowance. Irene says absolutely not. Others believe that if you're born in this country, even if you're not an Irish citizen, you should be given at least children's allowance while you are here. Rachel, you're on Dublin's 98 FM. Hi, Rachel.
Hi, Adrian. How are you?
Good, thank you. What did you want to say on this?
Oh, God, you know, this stuff boils my blood. It really does. If an Irish couple went abroad and the woman was pregnant and she had a baby, she went into labour and she got pregnant over there, instantly that child is granted citizenship of the country they're born in and Ireland because of the parents being Irish. I think people are so mean in this country. They blame asylum seekers and refugees on everything, and they're saying, oh, they don't want to go out and work. They're the ones that are taking the jobs that the Irish won't do.
Yeah, I agree. Well, I think a lot of people agree with that. There are many jobs that foreigners are doing because Irish people won't do them, or because
Exactly,
Irish
and
people...
they won't complain then. They won't give out then. They're like, oh, that's great, we have someone to do that job. Do you know what I mean? But the minute someone asks for help for a child.
And okay, so
anyone having to live on €25 for a child.
Well, it's not even 25, it's 21.60.
Like even that alone, do you know what I mean? When you think of even an extracurricular activity, do you know what I mean? The majority of them are between €5 to €10 to do.
Okay, but as you will be aware, Rachel, I think it was 2005, we had a referendum where we voted about citizenship, and because, as you know, we did have a huge problem here that people were coming from foreign countries, getting off the plane in Dublin and giving birth so that their child will be an Irish citizen, and we got rid of that. So it's not an automatic right if your parents aren't Irish. And what Irene is saying is
they're born in Ireland. There's no dispute in it. If they're born in Ireland, they're born in Ireland.
Yes, no, I know that, but they're not necessarily...
It's why the richer people do get their children's allowance. It's because the Constitution says that all kids are equal. All kids are equal once they're born in this land.
And whether they're... And as far as you're concerned, whether they're Irish citizens or not, they're still equal.
Exactly. They're kids.
Okay, Irene, what do you say to that?
Well, the first thing I'd like to say to that lady is, if you walk out to two parents and two children, that's £320 a month money floating after everything being paid. Oh, hang on, please.
No, sorry, Irene, say that again. Start that again.
If you walk out what they're getting per week, if it's a family of four. Right?
Yeah, it's €84.
Yeah, say that's €84. Now double that by 4.
What do you mean double it by 4?
But they're getting that per week.
Yes.
You know what I mean, Adrian?
Yeah.
So add that up by 4. It's 300 and something euro a month. They don't pay anything. I'd like to ask that lady, does her husband work? Does she have that much money every month to just call their own and not pay anything else?
Irene, I'm a single mother and I'm actually quite proud of it, and I could provide for my kids. Okay?
I didn't ask you that. I said, are you left with 300 odd euro a week to pay nothing with? That's just for you and your child.
Say something? Regardless of what I'm left with, I'm still not going to begrudge a child to be taken out of poverty. And another thing...
What poverty? What poverty? They're living in the same hotels as their own people. What poverty?
I can't hear both of you. Sorry.
Irene, can you answer me this?
Go on.
Why are you not giving out stink about the rise that the TDs got last week or the week before of nearly €900 a week? Why are you not giving out stink about that? Because
I'm sorry, I didn't get your question. I'll answer, but I don't know what you said.
Okay, you're giving out about €300 a month per family. Okay, what about €900 to €1,500 a week? TDs have gotten a rise of in the last couple of weeks.
TDs. Look, people are talking about now.
Irene, here's the question, okay? A child born into direct provision here in Ireland, okay? It may not be an Irish citizen, but it was born here in Ireland. And in the bed next door is another woman having a baby, although she probably won't be in the bed next door. She might be in private suite. She is the wife of a multi-millionaire. And she'll get children's allowance of 140 quid a week. But the woman who's living in direct provision, who's struggling on 21 quid a week, won't get a washer and children's allowance. Where is the fairness in that?
Well, can I answer that then, please?
Yeah, come on.
As I explained to you, the reason why that was stopped was because of the abuse of that
I understand that.
Right. That's number one. Number two, you are actually paying millions of taxpayer money out for children that's not even in this country, in children's allowance, which I can't understand, because I know the Labour Party tried to do away with that, and the EU wouldn't let them do it, right? So there's absolutely millions per year going out of this country for children that are not even resident in this country. I can't understand it. But anyway, I'm trying to make the point that they live in hotel rooms exactly like their own people, and they get everything the same like their own people. Do you know what I mean? And I can't
Again, Irene, my question to you was...
Yes?
Where is the fairness in a child born...
They're not Irish. And that's my answer.
Oh, that's it.
They're not Irish people. Yes, because they're not Irish. If they're accepted as Irish citizens, they get their children's allowance. They get all them rights. But as far as I'm concerned, that what's happening in our country is all the people that's coming in here automatically get money. Automatically. You know what I mean? And it's getting ridiculous. The taxpayers.
Okay, Rachel, let's just deal with what she said. And what she said was a child.
Why are they not Irish if they're born in Ireland?
They're not Irish.
Rachel, that is the law. In the eyes of the law, they're not.
And I understand that, and I have to be honest, I just think it's absolutely, it boils my blood that someone can begrudge a child an extra few pound a week. I don't have a lot, and I really don't. Do you know what I mean? But I still wouldn't go and begrudge someone else. When you have got the likes of TDs giving themselves raises like that and no one's batting an eyelid, people do not come in looking for asylum in the country. I get what she said about the abuse, and that it has been wiped out. But now you have people coming in for genuine reasons. Look at what's happening in the countries they're coming from. Why are you begrudging them?
Okay, let's deal with that for a second, Irene. A lot of people coming to this country, I mean, this welfare tourism has been stamped out in terms of the citizenship rules and all of that. But in terms of the reasons they're coming here, in some cases, they're very desperate reasons that they're coming here.
Yeah. And I said that to you, Adrian. I said, if their point is proven that they're fleeing some, persecution, they are accepted here. That's fair play. That goes on in every other European country. That's going by the law. You know what I mean? So, and then think of all the money when there is someone asked to leave. They go into hiding, or else they play the system for 4 years, and the cost of legal costs for them is crazy, all the way to the Supreme Court. It's absolutely crazy.
Okay,
let
me stay there
for swindling the system, Irene.
Sorry, say that again, Rachel?
What about the Irish that are swindling the system?
There's many.
Yeah, but I guarantee you're not one in every six.
Not one in every six. Okay, sorry, the quality of the lines is really bad. Jason, you're on 98 FM. How are you, Jason?
Hey, Adrian.
Good, thanks, Jason. What did you want to say on this?
Well, fair play to Frances there. You know, about time someone's sticking up for people, because I tell you, she's right. There's so much meanness in this country. I'm listening to Irene there, right? And Irene will try to tell you that she's not racist. But yeah, she was on a couple of weeks ago saying some Muslim got smarter in Blanchardstown and she hates Muslims. And
no, that wasn't her.
Excuse me.
Right, well, sounds like that. Because I've listened to her so many times talking about foreigners coming in. Foreigners coming in and stuff like that. These people in direct provision, some of them want to work. They want to get out and work. And some of them are...
They're allowed to work now.
Excuse me, they're not. Some of them are very skilled people and they're not. They're stuck in there. And if they do get out to work, they should be given citizenship, because they're contributing to the country more than lots of Irish here that wouldn't be bothered going out and work, and they want to spend their time scamming the system. These people, most of these people are genuine. And you want to punish children for the sins of people that were abusing the system years ago when this law was introduced, that didn't give them automatic citizenship. You want to punish children for their mistakes. That's what you want to do. And it's wrong. These people should be given, if you're born here, should be given citizenship.
You're saying anyone that comes in here should be given everything.
I'm not saying that at all. I'm not saying that at all.
What are you saying?
I'm saying the people that are in direct provision who want to work should be let out to work, and when they integrated into society, because they're willing to work and contribute.
And did the government not change
and then the children should be given... Sorry, but you got to let me talk.
Yeah, go on.
So the children of these people would then be entitled to children's allowance.
Can I answer that? The government already have changed the law that the people in direct provision can work. So there's that argument taken care of, okay?
The people in direct provision can work.
The government.
So why are we having this?
The reason, Jason, the reason that they are not allowed to, they don't receive children's allowance is, strictly speaking, they're not Irish citizens, and that's the reason. Okay, it's as simple as that.
That's exactly the way it is. That's exactly what I mean.
But as you heard earlier on, Jason, the Irish Refugee Council believe they should be given children's allowance of 140 quid a week, or whatever it goes up to in today's budget. But as regards working, I mean, this was earlier on in the year. Justice Minister Charlie Flanagan said asylum seekers will be allowed to take up any form of employment except for positions in the Gardaí, the Defence Forces and the Civil Service. And if they gain successful employment, they will have the option to leave the direct provision centres and seek alternative accommodation if they so wish. But they can still stay in the direct provision centre. So they are allowed to work now, Jason, but they're still not entitled to children's allowance.
Right, but this argument of people, like, I mean, what Irene said there about, you know, if someone's in a hotel, you know, someone who's homeless and they're put in a hotel, people seem to think, oh, well, you're in a hotel, you've no bills, you've no nothing, you know. There's no self-respect. They're not, if some of these are parents that want to be able to cook for their children and you know, their kids come home from school and have a home to come home to and stuff like that. It's the same with these people in direct provision. I'm sure they want a bit of dignity as well. You seem to, oh, well, they have shelter and they have food and stuff like that. It's basically like a prison, an institution for them.
Yeah, it is. And I would love to visit one of those centres, and we've never been allowed in.
Please do.
Yeah, we've never been allowed in. We've never been allowed to see the conditions that they live in. We've seen photos, but we've never been allowed.
I've heard some horror stories.
And so have I. And
Yeah,
it can't
absolutely.
be. It can't be nice. It
and
can't be
people
nice.
like Adrian just assume, look, they have food. And your man Jay, people just assume, they have food and they have shelter. They're grand, they're not Irish, that's it.
Yeah, but
You know what I mean? If they were born here.
I mean, if you have to be fair about the situation, you can't expect the government just automatically to take everyone into our country and presume what they're saying is
Nobody's
right,
expecting that. Nobody's expecting that.
But you're saying that. You're saying
I'm not. What I'm advocating is a bit of compassion from people like you, a bit of compassion for children.
Okay, Irene, let's just deal with that. A bit of compassion.
A bit of compassion. I have compassion, Adrian, but I have to say, I think it's great what we do. Go and look in France. Go and look across Europe where they're being thrown
here
into.
We go.
No, but go and look at what they're doing in
What
Europe.
do they turn into?
And fair play to their country. They're so open to people. That's what you're forgetting.
Okay, let me just bring in one last call on this, and that's you, Michael. You're on 98 FM. How are you, Michael?
Not too bad, Adrian. How are you?
You believe that people in direct provision already get enough?
They should get the basics, and that's it. And they're lucky they're getting that.
They're lucky they're getting that?
They're very lucky they're getting that.
Right, what, would you want them thrown into a camp or something?
No. I'm not a racist. I don't think that lady's a racist either. And these are a couple of people there that are operating on the world of emotions and feelings. Not common sense. The fact of the matter is, we've got to take care of our own people first and show compassion to our own children. We've got our own children who are living in hotels. Once we take care of our own, then we're in a position to help other people. We can't
Michael, regardless, and I agree with all of what you're saying, and I am delighted that the government are making an announcement today to do with the housing crisis and setting money aside to build more houses and all of that. But we will always have homeless people. No matter what the government does, we will always have homelessness. This is a new, unique situation where we've got Irish families, school-going, working families, living in hotels. Yes, no, I agree. I agree.
New. That's not. You can't just say there's always been homeless people. That's a new thing.
No, I agree.
We can't just let loads of people come into our country. It's our country. It's not their country. We are told by these liberals and these emotional people that we have to clean up our own government. But then these other foreigners, they can't clean up their governments. They need to clean up their own countries. This is not a holiday camp.
Well, that's easy to say now when there's a civil war raging around your head. And
That's another thing. These people who are in Ireland, they're not coming from civil war. They're economic migrants from Pakistan.
Some are. Not all.
Most of them are. And the Syrians don't want to be here. The Syrians want to go home to their own. There are people from actual war-torn countries don't want to be here. They want to go home to their own countries. We're dealing with mostly economic migrants. It's mostly economic migrants. And they come in and they disappear. They're coming in and they're disappearing.
They don't disappear when they're in a reception centre like Balbriggan or Mosney.
Yeah, but look at the news reports about these guys. Like a couple of weeks ago, 5 guys jumped off the back of a truck and disappeared in this country. That happens all the time. That's happening every month in Ireland.
Okay, in answer to the question, a child born in the Rotunda Hospital to parents who are here seeking asylum should not get children's allowance, where the child next to him, born to a multimillionaire, does. And you think that's fair?
No, I tell you what's fair. They're getting food, they're getting clothing, okay? They're getting a roof over their head, right? We don't have to give them the life of luxury. It's not my responsibility. I have to take care of my own kids. You're asking me to sacrifice my kids' future and the country that my people fought for and bled and died for to bring in foreigners, and if I don't agree with it, I'm a racist. It's ridiculous. There's going to be an uproar and revolt in this country, and I'm telling you, it's coming.
All right, Michael, thank you very much indeed for your call. And just to wrap up, Jeremy's here with huge reactions to this on text, on WhatsApp, on social media.
Yes, and one text message I want to address, Adrian. Some people seem to think they have this romantic view of what Mosney Direct Provision Centre is like. Why are they giving out about Mosney? Sure, it's beautiful. They have everything up there. They have paddling pools, lovely accommodation, and 3 meals a day. What more can you want? Now, to that texter, you obviously think that Mosney is still the way it was when you went there as a kid in the 80s. It's changed considerably. And in fact, off air there, I was reading a story by one person who's in direct provision, Adrian, who said she feels like being a caged animal. This is an interview a woman gave to a media about a year ago. She's an African woman living in direct provision for the last 3 years in Mosney Direct Provision Centre, and she said it's like being an animal in a cage. She said the security is very tight. They're constantly looking at you. We were refused access to third level education. We can't lock our doors because they have our keys. We can't open our doors at will. She was asked, what is Mosney like to live in for 3 years? She says, living in direct provision like Mosney affects your mental health. Mosney is okay, but we don't have our freedom. We don't have Wi-Fi. We can't buy our children things and they get sad. We want to buy them football boots, a game box or bikes, and none of this is possible. You can't do anything without security looking at you. It's far from ideal. The food, and I mean, I'm looking at more comments from her about the food not being great. So to say that Mosney is like going on your holidays to the Costa del Sol is a ridiculous comparison. Here's a couple more of your texts. These people who say that they aren't racists espouse the most racism on air. It's absolutely ridiculous. Are we really arguing about denying children a few quid? And Brian makes a point. He says, if you do give these children in direct provision children's allowance, how do you know that the money is actually going on the children? Well, Brian, it's just like the children's allowance that any parent in Ireland gets. You'd have to ask yourself a question. How many parents that do get children's allowance end up spending it on themselves? We spoke to a woman last year in the show who gets her hair extensions done with children's allowance.
Or even notice the money. They've enough money of their own, they don't even notice the 140 quid coming into their bank accounts. They've that much money. And on a separate issue, Philip says, the point that you're making, Adrian, why are people who are rich and on big wages getting children's allowance? They don't even notice it going into their bank account, which is the point you make. But my argument to that has always been people who are middle to high earners, by very nature of the fact of the job they do, they bring in more taxes. So why shouldn't they get children's allowance? If I earn 150 grand a year, which, by the way, I don't earn anything near or close, why would I not be entitled to children's allowance for my child? Because I'm paying more tax. Yes, I get that, but I genuinely have always thought that people who are on like 7-figure salaries don't either need, want, or even notice the children's allowance coming into their bank account.
Where do you draw the line? 7 figures?
I don't know where you draw the line, and that's why it's never happened, because it's always been viewed that all children are equal. All children are equal, except kids in direct provision. That's the truth of it. That's what we've learned today. All right, you're listening to 98 FM's Dublin Talks. I'm Adrian Kennedy. We're going to take a quick break, and after that break, we're going to be hearing from a family who've been told that they must dig up a family grave immediately. Why? We'll find out in a second.
98 FM's Big Breakfast.
Hi, it's Cooper Luke from 98 FM's Big Breakfast. We're teaming up with Vodafone Ireland Foundation and ISPCC Childline to celebrate the launch of their new book, Head Bombs, Wrecking Your Head.
Hey kids, we want to know what's wrecking your head. We want you to tell us the types of things that are on your mind. Maybe it's something like moving into a new house or simply falling out with friends.
Share your stories with us and you can win a copy of Head Bombs, Wrecking Your Head and a Kindle.
It's with Vodafone Ireland Foundation and the ISPCC Childline.
98 FM.
October 26th is polling day. On that day, you will be asked to vote on a change to our constitution. The question is about whether or not we remove the wording that requires blasphemy to be a criminal offence. To get all the facts from a clear and independent source before you make up your mind, go to refcom.ie. Everything your vote means is explained there. Because on October 26th, your vote means everything. Brought to you by the Referendum Commission.
At M&S, our Oakham whole chicken has a new lower everyday price of €4.50. And it's sourced from M&S Select Farms we know and trust. So now you can enjoy a quality whole Oakham chicken for a very tasty price. Same great quality, new lower price. M&S for less. See in store for details.
Grant has been providing reliable, efficient and affordable home heating appliances for over 40 years. From the award-winning Grant Vortex condensing oil boiler to cutting-edge heat pump technology, you can trust Grant to heat your home. Think heating, think Grant. Visit grant.eu for more information.
For our city, for our fans, for Anfield, this means more. The new LFC fashion collection is out now. Exclusive t-shirts, polos, hoodies, tracksuits and jackets for men, women and kids. And they're only available direct from your official LFC club store at Ilac Shopping Centre, Dublin, and online at liverpoolfc.com/store. The new and exclusive LFC fashion collection is out now. This means more.
Autumn, my favourite time of the year. Cosy nights by the fire, leaves falling on the ground and prices falling in the autumn sale. Yep, summer may be over, but the bargains are just beginning at appliancesdelivered.ie with up to 20% off washing machines, up to 25% off dishwashers, and up to 30% off tumble dryers and cooking. And for those long nights in, binging on box sets and stuffing your face with chocolate, there's also up to 20% off TVs. The autumn sale now on at appliancesdelivered.ie.
Love having that next holiday to look forward to? Don't we all? Why not take off to North America with Aer Lingus this winter and explore monumental sites in Washington, D.C., live it up in the Los Angeles sunshine, or experience the magic of New York City? With flights from just €169 each way as part of a return trip, now's the time to book your next holiday. Smart looks forward to a happy winter break. Smart flies Aer Lingus. Book now at airlingus.com. Offer subject to conditions and availability.
At Bison Bar and Barbecue, we've always been big on taste. And now our restaurant is bigger too, with more space and a bigger bison menu to graze from. We're also giving you the chance to win big, with a trip for two to Louisville, Kentucky, the home of the authentic barbecue, including flights, accommodation and a private tour at the famous Bullet Frontier Whiskey Experience. Drop into Bison Bar and Barbecue on Wellington Quay for your chance to win. T's and C's apply. Visit bisonbar.ie. Bison, let the flavour roam.
98 FM's Dublin Talks. With the new look, Des Kelly Interiors. Helping you choose the perfect carpet. 98 FM.
Here's an awful story for you. 6 years after burying their father in Esker Cemetery in Lucan, a family has been told, sorry, we have to dig your dad's grave because the grave is too big. Lisa Marie, welcome to 98 FM.
Thank you very much.
Tell me about the contact that you received from Esker Cemetery.
So basically, yesterday, the postman came to the door with registered post whilst I was getting my kids ready for school, and it was the last thing I'd ever expect to open. And we were told that the construction work around the grave was too wide, and that it had to be done immediately. It was an urgent matter that it had to be dug up and realigned, which was an absolute shock. I then rang the South Dublin County Council, and with no sympathy at all, they told me it was to be done immediately, that they weren't even expecting a phone call back as soon as I did, which I thought was weird and strange. So anyways, he said he'd have a man meet me up at the graveyard yesterday. So 10:15 we arrived at the grave and the councilman was there. When we noticed then there was all spray paint beside the grave, big yellow spray paint, which has been humiliating. As you can imagine, everyone is just the one with spray paint. And
the spray paint is what? Is to outline the size that it should be, is it?
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely.
So how much bigger is your dad's grave to what it actually should be? Are we talking centimetres or are we talking feet?
Yeah, centimetres. 10 centimetres. So it's not huge. It's no way near huge. There's bigger graves in the cemetery.
Okay, so basically their issue is that the grave is it too wide or too long or both?
Too wide.
Too wide.
I'd say it's too wide.
Okay.
Now, my thing is, if that had been brought to our attention in 2012, the matter could have been dealt with then. 6 years later,
this is all being brought up on the surface again, Jeremy. It's I haven't slept all night, nor has my siblings or extended family or anybody. It's been absolutely uproar. It's absolutely sickening. And we had to go up there yesterday. We spent a whole day yesterday. That councilman walked off and he said, this is too upsetting. If it was his line of work, he would never have this to be done. He said it was absolutely disgraceful. That was his words he used yesterday.
So, okay, I'm just trying to get my head around this. So basically what they want to do is take the sides off the grave, essentially. Is that it?
Yeah, and you have to go in on the grave as well. So basically there was a small bit of cement on top of the grave where there's a bit of stone. And so now we have to go in and dig, which has already been done because they emotionally blackmailed me yesterday. That the fact that if there was other families that needed the bit of grass beside them, that they wouldn't be able to get in there. He said that these were bought in 2012. I said, I find it hard to believe because in 2012 my dad was buried. Why, again, was the intention that brought to us? Now, in digging to narrow the grave, will that disturb where your dad lays? Absolutely. It's already. If you've seen the pictures, which I posted up, it's already destroyed the whole grave. It doesn't look like a grave. It looks like an absolute mess off a building site. It's disgusting.
But your dad will stay where he is, will he?
He'll stay where he is. Now, the man did say to us yesterday from the council, he said, look, you can move him, but it's going to cost a few thousand. I said, what? Why would you even come out with something like that? My dad died through suicide. So living with that for 6 years, and trying to get your head around that, and now all of a sudden you're going here. We can't barely sometimes face going up, seeing that grave, let alone going up yesterday and digging it up.
Now, for those of you who are interested, we've posted a photograph, one of your photographs, Lisa Marie, onto our Facebook page at facebook.com/Adrian K and Jeremy D. If you want to have a look, that's the state of the grave at this moment. Although since that photograph was taken, there's now yellow paint around it as well, is there?
Yeah, there is. When we got to the grave, there was yellow spray paint where it's shown where we have to basically cut off the grave, dig it up, and basically it's outlining the grave now for us.
So I can actually see the yellow paint, but no, it's since been drawn in a big square around the grave, hasn't it? Yeah, I can see.
It's humiliating to go up to a grave now to be yellow spray painted. If someone else done that, they'd be up for destroying a grave. Like they just, I don't know why after 6 years they're doing this to us. Why? I mean,
in reality, this is probably their fault rather than anything to do with you, because they would have assigned the grave in the first place.
Absolutely. I'm after going through everything. I'm after going through from the start. Did they write out, what the rules and regulations, which I never got back then. Yeah, we knew there had to be a licence to be paid for, which is $490 for a headstone, which we haven't got and we couldn't fund back then. So what we done as a family together, it was all his children, we put blocks around it to kind of make it some sort of a memorial for him, until we all got something up together. But now this is just, I have younger sisters and brothers, and his family had to be notified. His family drove up from Carlow yesterday, and
we have been on to South Dublin County Council, who look after Esker Cemetery, and they say while we are responsible for the management of a number of cemeteries within the administrative area, including Esker, the council will not comment on individual cases. However, I can confirm that the details as outlined in your media query are factually incorrect. The query you referenced relates to a failure to adhere to the regulations. Now, it goes into great detail about under Section 4 and under Environmental 2374 and blah, 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 blah. The headstone must be clearly marked with the location, i.e. the section and plot number. South Dublin Council is obliged to comply with the above regulations. So basically, they're basically saying that it's too big, it's too wide, and you have to narrow it down. What is your biggest worry? And I do understand that it's your father's resting place, and I do understand how upsetting this whole thing is, and nobody likes to think of their loved one being disturbed in their resting place. What is your biggest concern out of all this, Lisa Marie?
My concern is that it's just brought everything back to the surface. How are we going to fix this? How are we going to put something back there and, you know, have a respect for the, as you say. Like, I'm not, by all means, they should have come to us in 2012. We've no headstone there. It's only a cross. It's only a few blocks that where we, you know, they're trying to say this is, we've already been tagged on Twitter saying, like, oh, well, they should have known the rules and regulations. I'm sorry, we didn't. We weren't given a book. We weren't given a, you know, we lost our father through suicide. You know, we tried to put something there that would make it more respectful to go up to, that we could sit there and we could, you know, pray with the whole lot. But then, if they had come back to us in a few months or a few weeks in 2012, instead of 2018, all of a sudden knock at your door.
I can imagine how upsetting it is, to be quite honest. Let me just read one more bit from the statement that we got from South Dublin Council. Sculptors and plot holders who fail to comply with the regulations are afforded an opportunity to rectify the situation. However, as future burials in the adjoining plots are compromised as a result, and given that all matters related to burial grounds are very sensitive, the council has protocols and procedures in place to ensure that this service is managed and maintained to the standard befitting the memory of all those loved ones buried in the council cemeteries. Basically what they're saying is there are rules, and your dad's plot breaks the rules because it's too big and too wide, and they have to fix it. And I do understand how upsetting that has to be for you and for all of your family.
I know, and that's the thing, and I understand that we absolutely will go by the rules, regulations, but like I said, 6 years later is an awful lot.
Yes,
They've been up
they should have
there.
told you 6 years ago.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, it's not that they're not up there all the time. There's been new graves being put there nearly every week. We've gone up, you know, so they've seen this. They could have rectified this problem
Years
back
ago.
in 2012.
All right, but listen, Marie, it looks like there's not much choice in this, and I totally get how upsetting it is for all of the family, and I appreciate you sharing your story with us on 98 FM.
Thanks very much.
All right, there you go. Sad story, that. This is 98 FM's Dublin Talks. That's it from us for today. We're way over time. Good night, good morning, good afternoon, and I'll see you tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. Barry Dunn is on the way in a moment. In the next hour, he's got some great music lined up, like these.
Mr. DJ, won't you dance to me? No, I need a miracle. I need a miracle.
98 FM's Dublin Talks.
With the new look, Des Kelly.